I would like to, of course, bring up our fearless director, Karen Jo David. We are the Las Karens. So Karen times 2, blonde and brunette. Welcome. Okay, I have my little cheat sheet. First of all, I want let's talk about what is Treasure House, why this type of mission for you, and how it all began.
So Treasure House is safe home for young girls who have been, it's a safe home for young girls who have been sexually exploited, and mainly for girls that are in Jalisco. I've never received any other child from out of state. And it came about because years ago I was living in Michoacan, and I just saw the horrible way that women and children were treated. And then when we moved up here, it was just really obvious about the trafficking going through this area. And Jalisco is actually the #1 in Mexico for familial trafficking. So I think it's because we have Puerto Vallarta, we have Chapala, and we have a lot of tourists, right? So when I discovered what was going on here, I just, as you probably all know, just hit my heart like so deeply, right? So I just decided deep in my heart that I wanted to do as much as I can do. It's just a tiny bit, you know, but every bit we can do to save the lives of these children.
And you started, Treasure House, by the way, this is very important. Treasure House it's actually under Casa de Tesores, is an AC accredited charity, Mexican accredited charity. We are also a 501c3 with a donation in the US, yes. And you started 2017, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Now, what this is all about too is to help us to build dorm rooms. So tell us about why they're needed, the vision of the layout, and especially for I like the fact that we're going to have a couple studios for older girls, and talk about what happens when they age out.
Okay. How many children? Right now we have 7, and that's because we need dormitories. We bought the property about 4 years ago, and very inexpensive because the buildings are older, right? So we can still live there right now, but we had to tear down the dormitories, so we're at only have 7 instead of, I will have a total of 15 girls eventually, and that is because I want home feeling. A lot of the girls come to me and they're like, oh, we love it here, there's so much peace, and we don't feel like family in the other places we've been at. And I know they're wonderful and they're doing an amazing job. I'm not saying anything against any of the other homes, but I know that for me personally, I want it to be more like a family. So the maximum we'd ever have is 15, except for the girls who turn 18. In the dormitories, we're adding an apartment, and that will have room for 4 girls that turn 18 but are still in high school, or want to go to college, or want to even start a business, but they don't have home to go to. Especially when familial trafficking, very rarely is there anybody in the family that they can trust, that they can go to. So this way, they can stay with their home, with their family, and prepare for the rest of their lives and their careers.
Okay, what kinds of, well, basically you just mentioned, we get girls who have been rescued by DEEF, the Children's Association of Mexico, just tell kind of the process. What does DEEF contact you?
Okay, yeah, the DEEF, and each child has a social worker, a psychologist, and a lawyer. And they usually bring the girls to me. I've also had the police force bring them to me if they happen to be girls that were a part of cartel. So, but usually it's the DEEF that actually brings them to me. They have to contact me first and ask me all the questions. And actually I have more questions for them because they want to give me everybody and anybody. And I'm like, no, it's a very specific home. We take in little ones until they're 13, and then they can stay until, like I just told you, for however long after that.
Now, we want to talk a little, this is going to be hard, but we're going to talk about some of the cases that Karen has had to deal with. And we're going to start with her first and her only boy.
The reason I accepted this little boy is because he was just a baby and he had two sisters with him, and they were in a horrible, horrible situation. Not just with the mama, who was an addict, but then the mama left these three kids with her own mom, and her own mom was just as messed up as the mama. So when they came to me, the little boy had bruises all over him, and sexual abuse we don't know, but we assume just because the girls had also been, I mean, they don't, when you're wasted on drugs or whatever, you don't really care about anything, right? About age or anything. So yeah, babies are involved in the trafficking situation. So he was an addict and slept in my bed with me, and always in the middle of the night for the first, I think the first year, maybe 6 months to a year, 9 months maybe, he would just start screaming in the middle of the night and just shaking. So we spent a lot of nights walking back and forth, and I would just sing to him, and it didn't really seem to help. You know, it's just the effects of the drugs. But when that was over, then we were so close, so very, very close. Horrible situation, but you know those three were adopted out, and that's very rare as it is. 3 kids in one home. And that lady had a baby the next month, so they went from 0 to 4. But he is now doing extremely well. Isn't that awesome? She was very brave. So he is now 5 and doing excellent, and speaks English very well too.
Now I'm going to talk about the difficult ones. I started with volunteering with Treasure House 2.5 years ago, and there was one girl. Her name was Lupita, and Lupita was about 11, I think, at that point. And she was always the first one to run to us and to hug us, and she was happy, but you could tell that it was bad. She had been prostituted by her drug-addicted mom at about age 5 or 6, we think. She was finally rescued with her and her 2 sisters. They were from another dad. And she was, in and out of orphanages. It was bad. And she was in a hospital for 4 months trying to kill herself. It was horrible, and we loved this little girl. She was happy. She was smart, but the problem is, as with sexual abuse kids, they then turn around and sexually abuse others. And so unfortunately, Karen had to do what was right for the rest of the girls and had to leave, and she had to be out. And I mean, I remember I was crying for days. We just all loved her, and I said to Karen, I said, how do you do it? You know, how do you do it? And she just said, it's all about the ones you save. So let's talk about our big success story, Yasmin.
Well, first, before I mentioned her, most of the girls in our home have been rehabilitated. It's just a few of them, just maybe because she was so young, we don't know. But most of them really are get it together. So the one she had just mentioned, she is now 15, and she's been supported by a family in Guadalajara, so she could go to the International Institute school up there on the hill. But she was the president of her class last year. And so, isn't that awesome? I mean, you know, sometimes they just don't make it at all, but she just pulled it together. She loves where she is. She had been put with her grandmother also by her mom, who was an addict, and grandmother made her attend to her sons.
Please.
Yeah, so please them, right? So, but she has put that behind her. She's doing exceptionally well, and she's very happy, and we're working on an adoption situation for her right now as well.
I wanted to also, in the 2.5 years that I've been going into the girls, and first of all, I never had children. I'm the crazy aunt. So they're all like my nieces. But I gotta tell you something, in the 2.5 years, I have seen an incredible difference with all of these girls. I mean, when we started, they were kind of like, scared of people and, didn't have very good manners. And now, oh my God, these girls, they have a chance. And that is what is different with Treasure House, because it's a family. And these girls, they help each other out. And it's just the most beautiful thing to go and to see this. And, we just want to get more of these poor girls to get into Mama Karen's so that they also have a chance. So also, let's see, how to get involved. I mean, right now, we need funds, of course, to build the dorm rooms. We do, with only 7 girls, we go out and we do crafts with them, but it's kind of hard because you don't want to have, 10 women and 7 girls. But if you, are interested, maybe, or if you have something to offer, we've got a lady that's going to come and help teach music. And so, but, we really need funds. So, now talking about funds, Jeff and I, my husband and I, have an announcement for you. We thought we were retired. That didn't work. So we've started a company. It's called Marketing with AI. And what we're doing is we're putting together, Jeff and I are marketing whizzes, our whole career. We're putting together an ebook, and it's going to be for solo entrepreneurs and small business people to learn how to do their marketing using AI. The bottom line is to old folks, if we can learn it, anybody can. So Karen, we are going to be launching hopefully the beginning of the year, and we have a sign-up sheet back there. And everything that we sell, 10% on top goes to Treasure House. And anybody who signs up on our sheet, if you want, we'll just email you when we do the launch. We will offer 20%. So, and we're only talking about, $20 I think we're going to start it at. So, but we're really trying to help small entrepreneurs and people. And so we hope this builds pretty big, and we got a nice, and then we're also giving a 3% to Maxima because that's where we got our dogs. All right, I think that's it. We are going to now start a little fashion show. So give us a couple minutes. And everybody got rocks. Did everybody get their rocks? They were painted by our girls with a couple help from us volunteers, and they love to paint rocks. They just come up with just really some fun designs. So, get it. It's a rock and roll show, and you get rocks.